everybody. I'm Glen Kuiper. Welcome to the Glen Kuiper Show. All Giants here on my YouTube channel. Thanks for joining. Remember to hit that subscribe button at any point during the show. You can do it right now. You can do it at the end of the show. But what I want you to do is I want you to sit back and enjoy this live edition. It's a pregame edition, and I am actually at Oracle Park. As I look down on the field right now, the Giants have just finished taking batting practice. The Cleveland Guardians are now on the field. But certainly a different feel at the ballpark. As I look down right now, I mean, you know how in the postseason you always have a whole bunch of people by the dugouts and behind home plate, and then in the regular season, not as many. Well, that's the case tonight. There's a whole bunch of people behind the dugout or in front of the dugouts and behind home plate, and obviously a lot of them were here to see Rafael Devers take batting practice. He just finished that, and they all headed back into the dugout. So, but there's a little juice in the air tonight. There's no question about it, and it's going to be an exciting night. Rafael Devers is in the lineup. He's the designated hitter, and he's going to bat third come game time. So, looking forward to tonight's game. But kind of wanted to cover the day so far and some of the things that have happened, some of the things that have been said about Devers from the Giants. What's going to happen? Where is he going to play? All the things that I know. There's a lot of questions out there about those kind of things. But the day started, and I don't know if anybody saw this on social media, but it was pretty cool. When Devers arrived at the ballpark today, Giants parking lot is out in left field under the left field bleachers. So they kind of walk through the tunnel, and they can go inside, or they can actually walk right down the left field line and into the dugout. Well, as soon as Devers came through that swinging door right down the left field line, he was greeted with fireworks went off, and this was really cool. All of the Giants front office people were lined up from the left field line, figure the left field foul pole, all the way to the Giants dugout. And the Giants got a lot of employees, and they were all lined up in two rows, and Devers walked between them, and they were clapping. They were shaking his hand and greeting him. He had a big smile on his face. And so the Giants trying to make him feel as welcome as possible. They certainly did a good job. So Red Sox probably think that's a little hokey, but I thought it was kind of cool, actually. And he certainly enjoyed it. But all the Giants front office were down there to greet him. And then the press conference got started. Kind of a typical press conference. The big boys were there. Greg Johnson was there. Buster and Zach and Bob Melvin was there. And of course, Rafael Devers was there. And a lot of good questions. Devers said all the right things. Listen, he did not bash Boston at all. And he basically said the right things. He said, I'm here. I want to play. I'll do whatever my bosses tell me to do. So he didn't say anything that was super controversial. Seemed like kind of a quiet, maybe not quiet, but kind of a shy guy. But all in all, it was a well done press conference. We heard from everybody, lots of questions. But one of the things that happened at the press conference, again, something that I thought was really cool, is the entire Giants team in their uniforms was at the press conference. So listen, I mean, that, another team, another organization would maybe have done the same thing. But the point is all the Giants players were at the Devers press conference. They were all, some were sitting, some were standing, but they were there to show their support for their new teammate. They know how important he is to this team. So nice job by the Giants players as they showed out and welcomed their new teammate. They understand, how important he's going to be. Buster Posey said something that I thought was really, really interesting. And it kind of shows how a baseball executive like Buster and most of the baseball executives, what they look for in a player. And I'm paraphrasing here, but the point will be that Buster said, he talks to his guys a lot, his baseball people, his lieutenants, so to speak. Zach and Jeremy Shelley and all the gang, Randy Wynn, and they talk about players all day. They did this guy, that guy, other players, whatever. But one of the questions that they ask about a player is this guy a dude? Okay, so you're thinking, a dude, what do you mean? But the point is, it's a dude, it's a little bit of an undefined term, but what it means in a baseball sense is this player the guy? Example, Aaron Judge, he's a dude. Okay, but let's think about National League West. Mookie Betts, he's a dude. Freddie Freeman's a dude. Shohei Ohtani's a dude. Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis, they're dudes. They're the guys that want the game on the line. They want to be up to bat. They like pressure. And maybe most important is when they're in the lineup, the other team knows exactly where they are in that Giants lineup and when they're coming up. Giants haven't had that in a while. There's not a lot of dudes out there, but I want you to understand what Buster was saying when he said Devers is a dude, right? He's a guy offensively that can do damage and that scares the other team. They may pitch around him, but they will know Devers is 3 hitters away. Devers is 2 hitters away. So that's what Buster's saying. Devers is one of those dudes, right? So think about that as you watch this guy play, because it's very hard to get a guy like this unless he's your own. You draft him, that kind of thing. These guys are hard to get, and these guys are expensive to get, whether it be player-wise in a trade, contractually in free agent, or you pick up a big contract like the Giants did with Devers. But he's a dude, okay? And you're going to see it. And I really think people out here on the West Coast, we're all Giants fans, but we haven't seen, Devers plays on the East Coast in Boston, plays in a different league. And you're not playing the Red, up until a couple of years ago, you played the Red Sox once every 3 years. Now you play them every year, but it's a 3-game series. The guy may be off, So I really, and I saw Devers quite a bit when I was with the A's in the American League, because we saw him 6 times a year. But I'm not sure that Giants fans, and this is not at all a criticism, it's just a reality of you just don't see these guys play very much when they're on the East Coast. I don't know that Giants fans realize how good this guy is offensively. He is really, really good, folks. And you're going to enjoy him hitting in the middle of the Giants lineup. And it all starts tonight, which is pretty exciting. But that's some of the things that went on at the press conference, which was good. And then you got back to work. Everybody gets down on the field and starts the pregame routine. And Bob Melvin brought this out today, and everybody was wondering, this was the big question, right? Where's Devers going to? I mean, I didn't think it was as complicated as a lot of people in media were making it about, well, where's he going to play? Oh, my gosh. What he's going to do is he's going to hit in the middle of the lineup. That's the most important thing. Worst case scenario, he's your DH. That's what he did for Boston the whole year, and he's having a great year. But here's what Bob Melvin said. He talked with Devers as Buster, and they all sat down with him and kicked some different ideas around. But this is what Bob said. Devers is not going to play third base. So third base is out of the question. And quite frankly, Chapman's here for 5 more years. So nobody's going to play third base unless Chapman's injured. So if he were to play third base right now, it would be short term until Chapman gets back. Devers hasn't played in the field at all this year. So that's not happening. That's not happening now, and it's not happening in the future. Devers will not play third base. But what Bob said is they are going to start working him at first base. So that's big news. And Bob Melvin said, listen, if a guy can play third base at the big league level, he should be able to make the transition to first base. Now, it's not automatic. It's not a simple move across the diamond. It's a completely different position. But let's remember, Rafael Devers, for the first 6 years of his major league career, up until this year, was an everyday third baseman for a World Series champion team in the Boston Red Sox. And Devers, from what I've been told and just kind of looking at some of the things that have been said about his defense continued to get better each year, and where he was a decent defensive third baseman. He wasn't a Gold Glover, but he wasn't a hack. So Devers worked his way into being a decent defensive third baseman. There's no reason why he can't do that at first base. Okay, so he was out there today with he and Dominic Smith taking ground balls. So it sounds like, because he hasn't played in the field this year, they're going to take their time with him, let him get comfortable, because not only is he back on the dirt, but he's never played first base before. So, but the Giants feel like with some work and a little dedication, he can make himself into a good first baseman. There's no reason why he can't. He was a decent third baseman defensively, and there's no reason to think he can't be a decent first baseman defensively. Now, I think the Giants want to be patient and let him get comfortable over there and maybe work with him some. But at some point, I don't know when. I'm not going to put a timetable on it, because you do have Dominic Smith, who's a terrific defensive first baseman, and he's done a nice job offensively. But at some point this year, you're going to see Rafael Devers get some games at first base, and I think that's a good thing. So that sort of answers that question about what's Devers going to do? Where's he going to play? And until he's ready to go out there and play first base and he feels comfortable doing it, he's going to be your designated hitter. That's what he did every game this year for the Boston Red Sox. So that's sort of that situation. We're going to see Devers DH for a while, and then at some point we will see him get some games at first base. And I think too, let's look at the long-term picture here, which obviously brings up Bryce Eldridge. Every Giants fan, when you even bring up first base, you have to have Eldridge's name in the mix, and that's more than fair. See, but again, this is a good problem to have. When you got two what you think are going to be good players, one's an all-star, one's in AAA, but he's your top prospect. Would it be so horrible? Would it be so horrible if Devers and Eldridge in the future, I'm not talking necessarily this year, may not even be next year, I'm talking about into the future. If you had Eldridge and Devers and they played first base and they DH'd, maybe you switched them back and forth. Who knows? But is that the worst thing? When you got an all-star who is a middle of the order masher, and you got your best young hitting prospect, both left-handed hitters. Listen, when Eldridge is here, whenever that is, he'll be in the lineup and Devers will be in the lineup. And one will DH and one will play first base. So let's not overcomplicate that situation. But let's also remember Eldridge is 20 years old. He's in AAA. We all know the story, learning how to play first base, hit some home runs, struggling a little bit though, striking out a lot. He's only 20. We may not see him this year. He may need another year next year. So the point is you may need Rafael Devers to play first base for a couple years, and that's okay. That's okay. When Eldridge is ready, and who's a better defensive first baseman 2 years from now, to make a decision. And if it's Eldridge, Devers DHs, and he'll be fine with that. So I just don't think we should overthink this. It's a good situation to have at first base moving forward. And as far as this year goes, listen, because he's going to DH a lot, Wilmer Flores is going to lose at bats. Wilmer's going to play first probably against left-handed pitching. You may get him out of there in the 6th or 7th inning if you're winning. Get Smith in there for defense. That's just the way it's going to be. But again, these are not bad problems. And we should tell you that with Devers coming on to the roster, Daniel Johnson, the speedy outfielder who was here, helped the Giants win a couple games. He was the player sent back down to the minor leagues. Encarnacion stays, and Encarnacion out of options, I believe. So that certainly played into the decision. But Encarnacion is still here. Daniel Johnson is back in the minor league. So, anyways, that's some of the things that happened today. Some of what we learned, which was Devers going to play first base, which is good stuff. But there's definitely a little extra buzz in the air tonight, and it all surrounds Rafael Devers. And the last thing I want to talk about, and we're hearing, you hear so much, there's so many opinions out there on this Devers thing. He's a bad teammate. I like to listen to the guys who know him personally and have been teammates with him. Dominic Smith's been a teammate with him for a year, a couple years ago in Boston, and he said the guy's awesome. So anyways, you're going to hear a lot. Boston, the Red Sox fans, they're going to do what they do. But one of the things that we're hearing a lot of course, the Giants took the whole contract. They grabbed it all. After this year, there's 8 years and approximately $250 million left on the contract. Giants said, we'll take it all. Them doing that, I think was a huge, huge factor in them acquiring Rafael Devers. So credit there to the Giants and their ownership for saying, we'll take it. But the thing we're hearing is, well, this contract is going to age poorly. You know what? You're probably right. 8 years from now, when a contract ends for Devers in 2033, he'll be 37 years old. Okay. And again, I understand there's deferred payments, contract is spread out, but still 8 years, $250 million is what's left on the contract. So, the average annual value of this contract is 30. What is it? Let me think. Yeah, it's about 31 million, give or take. But remember, they get Jordan Hicks contract money back, which is significant. But anyway, so you figure 31 million for Devers for 8 years. He's one of the top 15 offensive players in baseball, I think, and most people I think would agree with me. Is that crazy? If Devers was on the free agent market, let's say at the end of this year, Devers is a free agent. Would the Giants and the Giants go after him? Would they have been able to get him for 8 years, $250 million? I don't think so. I think Devers would have got more than that. So, yeah, it's a huge amount of money. But for a run producer like Devers, who at this point is right in the middle of his career, is 28 years old, is $31 million a year average annual salary. Is that, it's not crazy. It's really not that crazy of a number. And so will it age poorly? Maybe. But all of these long-term contracts, and I have some here, and I'm going to go through some of them. Vlad Guerrero, Juan Soto, Bryce Harper, Aaron Judge, Mookie Betts, Corey Seager. These are all great, great players. And they're all in their prime right now, and they're all super productive. But they're all going to age poorly, these contracts. And they just do. They all are. If it's a 10, 11, 12-year deal, and the end of the contract, the player's 39, 40, 41 years old, and he's not going to be as productive as he was 10 years before that, and he's making 35, 40, then the contract is aged poorly. They all age poorly. These giant contracts, 10 years, 11 years, at the end of these deals, they're going to look bad. It's the tax that you pay to get these guys, okay? So my point is when his contract is over at 37 years old, is 30 million a year going to be, oh my God, that's a lot. He's not producing like he used to. Yeah. But wouldn't you take 3 more months of Rafael Devers this year going off? And then how about he gives you after this year 5 great offensive years? And the last 3 years of that contract, he declines. He goes down. He's not the same player. the contract is aging poorly, as we like to say. Would you take that? 5.5 years of top-level offensive production from Rafael Devers in a Giants uniform. And then 3 years left on the contract. He's not quite the same player at age 35, 36, and 37. I would take that. I would take that. Think about this. Think about the numbers I just threw out there, and I don't mean to confuse you with all these numbers, but now remember, Devers right now is 28 years old, okay? After this year, 8 years, $250 million left on his deal. He will be 37, okay, when the deal is up. Vladimir Guerrero just signed that huge extension. Right now, Vlad is 26 years old. That contract, 14 years, $500 million. 14 years, $500 million. And the contract starts next year, okay? So it runs through 2039. At that time, Vlad Guerrero Jr. will be 40 years old. So think about this. That's $35.5 million per year. That's what it breaks down. Again, that's just the basic amount of money divided by the years. I know the contracts are broken up differently with, deferrals and all that stuff, but it's still, that's the amount of money he's going to get. $35.5 million a year through 2039. Now, he'll be 40 years old, as I said. Would you say that contract will age poorly? Even if Vlad's going to become a DH at some point, and he's going to be able to hit till, as an older player in his mid-30s, he'll still be able to hit. But so will Devers. But think about the difference. So, Vlad Guerrero Jr., everybody said, Blue Jays, nice job. You got to keep your guy. Good, awesome, But that contract is going to age poorly. Does that mean it was a bad move? No. You keep Vlad. How about Juan Soto? You get real serious here. Juan Soto is 26 years old. His contract, 15 years, $765 million with the Mets. We all know about that contract. That comes out to be $51 million a year. That contract runs through 2039. Juan Soto will be 41 years old at the end of that contract. So, 41 years. Right now, Soto's 26. $51 million a year. Would you say that contract will age poorly? Probably. That doesn't mean Soto's awesome. He's a terrific player. He's starting to get his footing with the Mets. He's going to roll for a long time. But at age 37, 38, 39, 40, he's not going to be the same hitter. So if you want to say, well, that contract is going to age poorly, my point with all this, and there's other contracts, and Bryce Harper, it's the same thing. Harper's contract, he'll be 39 years old. His deal was a 13-year, $330 million deal. That was signed a while ago. But again, Harper's a great player. I love that guy, and he's going to be a great player for a while yet. But when his contract is up, he'll be 39 years old. So because the last 2 or 3 or 4 years of that contract, he's probably not going to produce at the level he's producing now. So our people are going to say well, that contract is aging poorly. I guess. But that's the price you pay. All of these contracts. Aaron Judge is the greatest hitter in baseball right now. His contract is going to age poorly. That's not a criticism of the player. It's just the reality of you're probably not going to be the same player at the age of 37, 38, 39, and 40 as you were at 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. You're just not. So the whole thing I'm getting at here is when I see people say, well, the Devers contract is going to age poorly. They're all going to age poorly. All these big contracts and all these, the names I just threw out, there's more guys. Mookie Betts has got a huge contract. Manny Machado, Trey Turner, they're all great players and they will be great for a while yet. But if you're just going to say, well, they won't be as good late in those contracts as they are right now, well, of course they're not going to be. But does that mean that a contract is going to age poorly? Okay, if that's the way you want to define it, fine. But I refuse to look at it like that when we're narrowing in on Devers' contract. I just wanted to show you some other examples that if that's how you feel about these contracts, that's fine. Then to me, Devers' contract isn't really all that bad because I think he could still be an effective designated hitter at the age of 35, 36, and 37, right? I mean, I think he could be. Maybe not the way he is right now, but I think he could still be a pretty good hitter. So maybe this the Devers contract, maybe it's not as crazy as it sounds. And maybe it's more, maybe it's a better deal than a lot of these other contracts. If you really look at it closely and see how much he's owed and the player that he is. Now, he's going to have to take care of himself. He's going to have to make sure he's in shape, all those things, which you hope he does. But I don't think the contract, I don't think it's going to weigh the Giants down. And I think, are you just going to get a guy who just can't hit anymore at all at the end? Listen, the end of his contract, he's not going to be 40 years old like Juan Soto. He's going to be 37. And quite frankly, that's a long time. That's a long time away. But if he can take care of himself, there's no reason why he can't have 5 or 6 top-notch seasons like he has been having. He's that good. He's that good. So that is what has been going on here at the ballpark. I hope you enjoyed the show. I'm excited about just sitting watching the game tonight. I'm here at the ballpark. I'm sitting in the booth, take some notes, and enjoy the Giants debut of Rafael Devers. Now, before we leave, I want to check some of the comments and questions, and maybe I can answer a few of those. So just stick with me here. Bake that dough has been a very loyal question asker, if that is the right way to put it. Bake that dough says, Glenn, do you see another move for a rotation pitcher or lefty for the pen? I think the Giants will make another deal. I do, because they have proven that they feel like they're in this thing, and yet you go get Devers, so you're in this thing, and yeah, I don't think it's going to be some Giants splash like they just made, but yeah, I mean, I could see a bullpen arm. You never have enough relievers. The relievers get tired at the end of the year. Giants have a great bullpen, but it wouldn't surprise me if they went out and got another bullpen guy, maybe a good quality lefty. Maybe that's a good call. But I would not be afraid to go out on a limb and say, I think the Giants will make another deal somewhere along the line. I just don't know that it'll be a giant. I don't think it'll be another giant deal, but it'll be they'll look at an area where they think they need help, and they'll go get somebody. You can get a reliever this time of year. So yeah, I could definitely see them doing that, bake that dough. Let's see. Robert Rothberg says the DH will prolong a player's career. Absolutely. If you're a good hitter, and these guys that I mentioned, all these guys are going to end up designated hitters. They just are. But that's a good thing. And it can prolong your career some. Takes you off the dirt as you get older. guys probably want a DH. Devers knows how to DH. He's showing that. So I agree with that. And you say, well, that's a lot of money to pay a DH. If he can hit, I don't care if he's just a DH. Shohei Ohtani's just a DH. Now he's pitching now again, but listen, he's a hitter, man. He's a hitter, and that's all that matters. Good question here, by Robert. Again, if Devers became a free agent, what contract would he receive? Well, that's what I just talked about a little bit ago. If Devers was a free agent after this year, he would get more than 8 years and $250 million. I truly, truly believe that. So it's not that bad of a contract, folks. It's really not for the quality of player that you're getting. New York Giants Preservation Society, good people there. Second base and leadoff or number 2 hitter. So that's what the New York Giants Preservation Society, as I said, good people there, by the way. They'd like a second baseman and a leadoff or number 2 hitter. I wouldn't be surprised to see Casey Schmidt when Matt Chapman comes back. I think Casey's going to get a shot to play some second base. We'd like to see, Fitzgerald get going a little bit, but he has struggled some. And I think Casey, who his at-bats look better this year, I think he's going to get some innings over there. The good news is tonight, Casey Schmidt is starting at third base. Remember, he banged a foul ball off his foot. So, but he's back in there tonight. So that's good news. And keep a close eye on Casey Schmidt's at-bats. If he keeps swinging the bat well, he is definitely going to slide over and get some playing time at second base. As long as he can get comfortable over there, he has not played there a lot. But that is, I think, a move that the Giants will think about making when Chapman comes back. Robert Rothberg says it was great to have Bonds showing up at the press conference. Yeah, Barry Bonds, the home run king, was there in the front row. He looks great. Looks like he could still play, no doubt about it. But so Barry was there the whole time, greeted him. So that was cool. That was another neat thing that happened at the press conference. They should keep Lee in the leadoff. He's a natural. That's where he is tonight. And I know he bounced around a little bit lately, but I think now with Devers here now, I think you may see Bob go back to settling in a little bit, at least with maybe the top 5 or 6 guys in this lineup. Got to get Chapman back. I think we're going to see Lee back in that leadoff spot and staying there. Adames is hitting second, and then you got Elliott and, and once Chapman gets back and Smith and guys will settle in a little bit. But I do think that is what's going to happen. So that's good. I appreciate all your questions. Dallas, thanks for checking in. And thanks for joining us tonight. Remember, you can follow me on X, formerly Twitter, at Kuiper Baseball. So check in on that always. I love X. I'm on it all the time, and I love going back and forth and talking with the good Giants fans. So thanks for joining. I'm excited about the ball game. Get comfortable if you're not at the ballpark, and get yourself a good seat because tonight is going to be fun. The fans are excited. Good crowd coming in as always. But I hope you enjoyed the show. Hit the subscribe button. We're making progress on getting to 1,000. We're excited about that. So make some comments. I love to read them in the morning. But most importantly, hit that subscribe button. And I hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I'm Glen Kuiper. This has been the Glen Kuiper Show, all Giants.